We're all working inside a framework, rules, expectations, and a lot of this, it's just always been that way, so that's how we do it kind of thinking. But what if it's not serving us anymore and we don't have to accept it? After years of taking on big challenges across the public and private sector, I've had to accept sometimes the criticism of that I don't always follow the script. Like when I first worked in government, I was blissfully unaware of all the silly little unwritten rules I was breaking in the bureaucracy and how we approach solutions. And it took people a minute to appreciate it. They were first a little bit unnerved, but the reality is they got behind it because the paradigms I were breaking was not just freeing for me, it was freeing for them too. Because you can't create new initiatives or solve problems or be meaningful in what you're doing unless you're really focused on getting the job done and collaborating and listening and respecting people. I was going to get a job done, and I felt empowered to do that because early on I learned that adopting rules that are fake and not fact don't help you. And humans do this because we love shortcuts. We adopt these little rules of thumb that psychologists called heuristics. They are like mental skipping stones we use to hop across big pools of information to get to decisions faster. We create patterns and we feel safer in that reliability. And heuristics, don't get me wrong, are really useful. They allow us to do complex things like drive a car without breaking our minds. We memorize, categorize, and automize some behaviors. But here's the problem. Heuristics and the rules we live by only work when we are in control of them. The moment we forget that, they stop serving us and start limiting us. They can even be used to keep us down, as Harvard psychologist Steven Pinker explores in his recent book around common knowledge, which is the unspoken beliefs we adopt not just because they're true, but because we think everyone else thinks they're true. Common knowledge helps us coordinate and cooperate and get things done. But in leadership and in life, it isn't always positive because sometimes we're all accepting a lie quietly because we think everyone else accepts it too. And recently, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney had a rare political moment, one that where he went globally viral for something that wasn't embarrassing, which is great as a politician. When he spoke at the World Economic Forum about this exact topic, he used an analogy where shopkeepers were putting signs of government slogans in the windows to create consensus, where actually consensus didn't really exist. What he was communicating in that speech was simple: adopted rules are not fact. And the idea resonated beyond the elites and the institution. It resonated with anyone who has ever been constrained by the rules that no longer work for them, rules that serve others, but not you. So let me ask you this. What adopted rules do you live by in your business, in your career, in your life, where they are putting a framework around you that was meant to be used, not used against you? Albert Einstein once was asked about how educators could produce more people like him. His answer captures this lesson really well. He said, everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. And that's what adopted rules do. They convince capable people that they're not good enough and that they're failing, when in reality, they're just being measured by a silly standard that doesn't matter. Adopted rules are not facts. We can take the sign out of the window. We can stop pretending there's consensus when there isn't. And we don't have to keep proving ourselves by climbing trees we were never meant to. Rules are tools. Frameworks are meant to be used, not used against us. So we need to be brave enough to question them, be bold enough to break the ones that no longer serve us, because when we do, we don't just become more effective, but we become more free.